Welcome back to Do It Myself Garage. We are going to tackle the rear wheel seal on this Silverado 2500. We believe that's the reason why we lost so much fluid out of the rear end. It was definitely wet on that side. Let's get her apart and see if we can get that thing replaced. Alright, in order to replace the wheel seal, you have to be able to get the axle off, and there's a special nut. Apparently this is the tool that you need, and hopefully I don't have to modify it. It was only like $14. Apparently these tabs sometimes aren't shaped right, but this one looks pretty good. We will find out in just a minute. Alright, first challenge, get the wheel off. Depending on where you are, sometimes these are hard to get off. This one was redone with different rims, so they have new studs on here, so ours were pretty easy to get off. Now I've got to get the center hub off of here. That's actually the axle. And then it has a special wrench on the inside to get the axle nut off to pull the whole thing out. So let's go ahead and get this off of here. Alright, so we struggled a little bit getting these out. I had to put some penetrant on them. And then sometimes going forward and then reverse will help. So this last one was being a little bit of a bear. So let's try it again. We'll go forward. Now loosen. Oh, there we go. That one was not coming out. So, alright, now we just got to pull this axle out of here. We're going to lose a little bit of axle grease. Hopefully not too much. Let me go get a tray to put under here. Alright, so on the inside of here, I didn't show me taking it out, but you got to fish this retainer ring out of here that keeps keeps this piece from falling out. There's a little magnet in here on this keyway. You gotta pull that little key lock out of there. That keeps this whole thing from turning. So now should be able to put this on there. I've got it in the impact. You really shouldn't need the impact. It shouldn't be that tight, but yeah. There we go. Now, can you get in here? There's our wheel seal right there. And then our bearings are behind that. And I don't know that I have the right wheel seal. Let's go make sure we have the right wheel seal before we get this apart any further than we do. Alright, it's the next day. Yeah, the wheels are back on. I did not show what we ended up finding. This axle, I don't know. It's not the axle that I thought it was. The leak also appears to be from where that axle bolts onto the cover. So all we did was we just cleaned up that surface, put some black Permatex on there, bolted her all back together. So we're going to leave that alone. What we did run into though is, oh shoot, I gotta go get the keys. Hold on here. Alright, so his heater fan quit working. So I went under the hood and checked out the main fuse under there. It was fine. I checked the fuse on the panel that's on the, you open the door and you pull the fuse panel there. Checked those two fuses and it was fine. I pulled the whole dash out, which is just, you literally just pull this bezel and it pops off. Pull this out and you check the connections back there, and I had 12 volts. So, and I shorted out the wires. So that should have turned the fan on. So that ended up down here. So you just take out 2 bolts in this. There's actually 3, but you only have to take 2 of them out. And I'll show you the piece that was bad. And then I'll show you a little bit more once we actually repair it. I'll show you what everything under there looks like. But I got it back together for now. Alright, let me turn the light on here real quick. Alright, so when you get up in there, there's this little resistor box, and it's just held in by these 2 screws. You unplug this piece. This piece here is actually plugged into the motor. So you pull this little piece out where the screwdriver works pretty good, and then this whole thing unplugs from the motor. This comes out, and hopefully you can see that I've got a burnt connection down in there. So while I was playing with it, it actually fired up and worked. So there's really nothing wrong with this module other than the that connection burnt. Well, maybe one of these in here is drawing too much power or something. So anyway, I'm like, all right, I'll buy a new module. The problem is it also burnt out the connector. All right, so this connector plugs into here and had all the wires in it. And as you can tell, that one is not only corroded, but it melted. So that was almost a fire. So what I did is I went in here, kind of the same thing here. You pop this little piece up here. This comes out. That locks all the pins in. Then you go on the front and you take something thin. I had a tweezers that worked, and push under. You push under these, and you can figure out which side by playing around with it. It ended up being this side. Push under this side on each pin, and I depinned them all except for this one. This one wouldn't come out because it was melted. So I ended up just cutting the wire. So then I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? Now I've got a bad connector and a bad module. Well, the module, that was no problem. That was like $13, I believe, on Rock Auto. Well, apparently these connectors go out all the time, and they're available already pre-wired from Rock Auto as well. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to, where the wires come out of that, so I don't have to even mess with the pinning, I can cut all my wires short on my original one and then splice into the wires that come on the new connector. And that should fix it all, and that was $30 with shipping. It was actually only $20 in parts and like $10 shipping. So there we go. That'll be a project for next weekend. I just kind of have it buttoned up, back together. That'll be in just a minute for you guys. But that's where we ended up on that. Without that blower fan going, it's kind of hard to have heat for winter. So we'll get him up and running on that here in just a minute. All right, so here's my new resistor pack. That plugs right in under the dash. Got this little orange piece you push in and it locks it. Then this guy is going to plug into him. It's got nice long pigtails here. They're all black and white. There's no color coding there. That's probably pretty smart of them. That way they don't get blamed for people putting wires in the wrong spot. They use just two colors. You better be paying attention when you do it. So I'm going to strip these back a little bit more, get my crimps on here, some heat shrink pieces on here, and then I'll go and I'll crimp it in the truck and get it sealed up, get it all heat shrunk, and we should be good to go. Alright, so we've got the resistor pack, I got the connector with everything crimped on there. Literally, I just been using this guy to crimp because he does a really good job. Alright, so now I got to get the bolts out of here. Didn't get a chance to show you before. There's one right there in that little pocket, and then there's another one about halfway back over here, and then there's one way up there, but you don't need to take it out because you can wiggle this thing down enough to get the pack in there and should be able to get the wiring done. Let's get to it. So we won't be needing the clips on the end of these because we're just going to splice it into our new piece. So I'm going to cut the ends off all of those. Alright, I'm going to film myself having taken a picture. So it looks like red, orange, black, teal or blue, purple, white, and tan. Oh, this thing won't focus worth it. There we go. So that's the original connector. That's how I'm going to wire this back up. Yeah, let's get started. I got all the ends stripped, good to go. Alright, I got them all in there. Now I just need to heat shrink them. I like using a heat gun. I'm not going to use a lighter inside of a vehicle. Let's just heat shrink those down real quick. About as good as I'm going to get it. Alright, so now all I gotta do is put this guy back up in here, and bolt him up. It can be really hard to show you with one hand, but he really only goes up in here one way. You'll see how it goes in, basically the same way it came out. They got the seal on here, so get that mounted up in there, and you should be good to go. So just those 2 screws, that one there, that one there. This wire here then plugs back into the motor over, I'll try to show this here. Plugs back into the motor right there. Okay, so I've got it, I just got it barely started. Push it in, and then push that little orange piece in, and she's locked in there. Now, all I gotta do is plug this guy in on the back of this thing piece right here. There we go. Plugged in. Before I put this panel back up into place, I'm going to go ahead and try it out. And then actually it looks like, since I have a bunch of extra wire here, I'm going to zip tie this piece so it does not rub in or nothing. I don't think that's that important anyway, but let's try it out. Let me grab the key, see if the fan works. All right, bing, bing, bing. Here we go. Fans off, fans on. Fan works. High speed, medium high, medium, low, extra low, off. Sweet. He has heat again. Awesome. Let me get a zip tie real quick, tie that up. Alright, so she's all done. That was a $30 repair plus some crimping supplies, some heat shrink. Guaranteed that'd have been a couple $100 at a dealership, if not more. Diagnosis, plus they're going to try to use OEM parts, which the OEM failed anyway, so I might as well use an aftermarket part. Anyway, she's all fixed and working. Thanks again for following along, liking, subscribing, all that great stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll be more than happy to try to help you out. My email is in the description down below. My website of everything that I'm up to. Anyway, got the old truck. We'll have heat now, and we definitely need it. We're in full fall swing here in Minnesota. Leaves are starting to fall off the trees quite a bit, and yeah, we definitely need that heat. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.